HD SLR Shooters special coverage of NAB 2017. Sponsored by Akidio, Aperture, Adamus, Band Pro, Blackmagic Design, Carl Zeiss, Light in Motion, Manios Digital and Film, Shape, Schneider, Sakonic, and Xylite.
Hi, Clint with HD SLR Shooter, continuing on our coverage of NAB 2017. I'm here with Matt Fury of Avid. And Matt, you're product manager here. Avid obviously always has a big presence at NAB, but talk a little bit about some of the new features you guys are talking about at the show.
Sure. I think one of the biggest things is the re-announcement of Media Composer First. This is a free version of Media Composer, really a complete tool set, standalone editor, targeted at first-time users, people that are just sort of dipping their toe into the world of editing. So, students, anybody doing corporate video, anybody that's just shooting. If I'm just primarily a shooter and I need a video tool set to work with my material, it is Media Composer. It looks, feels, walks, talks just like Media Composer, but it's been refined a little bit, made a little bit easier to use, a lot of published direct-to-social features in it. So I think anybody that's just wanting to get into editing, not just Avid, a really approachable piece of software. So that's Media Composer First, coming out in June. For Media Composer itself, a lot of cool stuff there as well. The return of script sync and phrase find. These are features that allow you to, in the case of script sync, you take a script from your project right into Media Composer. It's a digital script, and then I can just drag my media right onto the script, and using a technology called phonetic indexing, super fast. Like I can take hours of footage, and in like 30 seconds, I can just double click on a line in the script, and it'll load up that clip or clips right onto that line. So it allows me to put a story together really fast right from the script, dead on accurate.
Now, I've heard people say that they could do this before, but you're telling me that you guys got it down, right?
We actually introduced this model years and years ago, because Avid's been around almost 30 years, and it was called script-based editing. But it was a really manual thing. You bring in the script, you drag and drop the media, then you'd have to play it, and as you were watching it, or your assistant was watching it, was more often the case, they'd click on the lines as they were hearing them. Once they were done, then you could just edit from the script. Now with script sync, that technology does it for you automatically. So it accelerates the editorial process exponentially. Now, not everybody's working with a script. Sometimes you're just doing something that's, well, unscripted, as the case may be. That's where phrase find comes in. Same kind of technology. In your editor, you have markers or locators. You make notes. You have metadata about your clips. And when you want to find stuff, as long as you did good notes or made those markers, you type in, I'm looking for, DSLR, or I'm looking for camera. That's better. I'm looking for camera. And as long as you made a note somewhere it's a camera, you could find it. But what if you didn't make those notes? Or you didn't cover enough material? Now, using that technology, I can type in the word camera, and it'll go through every piece of media I have in the system and pull up those clips that have the word camera in it. So you think about that, no matter what type of work you're doing. Let's say I'm a wedding videographer, and I'm putting something together, and I want every time somebody says congratulations, so type in congratulations, every clip that has that word comes up, and I can string that together as a real nice montage, a really powerful piece of technology.
So when working with the script, will you be able to go back and will retain all of the scene headings and things like that?
Absolutely. So everything that's in the script, everything that's in the digital file comes through. Now, if you make a mistake, or sometimes what's written on the page isn't what's said in the clip, sure, you can actually go back in and edit it yourself. Maybe they said the word 12 instead of saying the word dozen. You could make that change. If you talk to feature film editors, they live and die by this, but it really has a lot of applications for anything that involves a script or a transcript. Maybe we're doing a talking head interview, and you got somebody like me prattling on and on for 10 minutes. You get a transcript of that, drag and drop the clip on there, it does it automatically, and just, hey, let's go to the part where he says this. There's no shuttling in the clip, none of that. You just double click on the line, you're there. So it just speeds up editing that much faster than you would usually be doing it.
Now, I know this is primarily an editorial tool, but is there a way to output some of this as closed captioning? Because it's as people are watching videos online now, sometimes they can't listen to the volume because they're boss, or they just don't want to. They want to see the words. It's becoming more of a demand right now. Yeah.
I don't know that the two have a direct link. I'm sure you could probably copy from the script to what's called the subcap effect. So we actually do open captioning. So if I want to put those titles in, some really cool tools for that. Or if you're doing closed captioning, and that's we'll preserve that throughout the timeline. So whether it's script-based editing, closed captioning, open captioning, all that stuff is in there in Media Composer.
So moving now to Avid, talk a little bit about any new innovations that you guys are talking about at the show.
The cloud is always a big thing. Now, maybe that's not appropriate for a lot of your viewers, or maybe it is, but just the virtualization of a lot of our tools, so you can work remotely anywhere in the world on something. I think that's a big theme in production these days, is this overcoming geographic boundaries, being able to collaborate with people all over the world. That's what the cloud's really enabling you to do, and we're really heavily leveraged into that. But thinking more locally in terms of tools, we talked about some of the new features in Media Composer. We have a new piece of hardware called DNX IQ. It's a video I/O box. Gives you basically every connection you could ever want. Thunderbolt 3, PCIe, Gen 3. But it also has this feature called Universal Mastering. And what's kind of unique about this is you wouldn't think that people still deliver to tape. I didn't, but they really do. There's a lot of that going on out there, especially when you're delivering to multiple markets. Yes. You spend a lot of time in production, you spend a lot of money on the content you create, you want to get a good return on your investment. So if I'm delivering to North America, delivering to the UK, delivering to Southeast Asia, I might have a 1080p 24 sequence, what I shot, what I edited, but in real time out of DNX IQ, I can spit out all those different frame rates and rasters in real time. So with one sequence, I can deliver a tape to all those different markets.
Yeah, and tape is still cheaper than drives, right?
It's funny how often we actually say, boy, I wish we were using tape right now in terms of just, portability and
cost.
Archival and cost. But, file-based is here to stay, but people are still delivering tapes.
Now, we were visiting just a little bit before we started rolling, shot something recently, and my old way was to utilize another editor and to take something that was shot 4K, put it into 1080p, just shrink it down and everything like that. But I was informed by somebody that utilizes Avid that was not the way to go, because there is a possibility of the pixels not matching when I go to blow it up again. Talk about what you guys have for that. Been around for a while, right?
Yeah, sure. There's acquisition and then there's distribution. Now everybody's shooting 4K because you can. It's on your phone, it's on your camera, it's everywhere. And you want to, it's affordable, and you want to get the most resolution possible because you want more to play with in editorial. But at the end of the day, people are primarily still delivering HD. There's 4K deliverables, but for the most part, the money deliverable is HD. So you have an HD timeline, but you have 4K source material, or even greater than 4K. And how do you effectively work with that in HD? Well, we have a feature called FrameFlex. It's not magic. It's just a really simple UI, and it's sort of elegant in how it works, and it allows me to scale and pan and zoom on my source material. Now, what I think about it, what I think is really cool about it, is I can put a sequence together, and then after the fact decide, oh no, I want to change which part of that frame that I used, or I want to do a little rotation, give it a Dutch angle kind of thing. Well, I've already edited that shot into my timeline over and over again. Well, I can make that adjustment on the source, and then just one click to Media Composer say, refresh the sequence based on these new changes I made, and it'll update it automatically throughout the sequence. Or I could make duplicates and just make multiple versions, because it's so easy to do versioning in Media Composer. So FrameFlex is one of those things we've had for a couple of years. We tend to sort of forget about how valuable it is to a lot of people, but it's something, if you're working with 4K material and delivering HD, you definitely want to check out.
Now, one thing I wanted to talk to you about, and to be honest with you, this is the first time I've actually interviewed Avid. So one of the things I'm interested in kind of exploring a little bit is when you talk to somebody that cuts on Avid, they have a different opinion of all other editorial programs. It's like they use Avid, and they do so because of a huge quality step down in other programs. What is it about that Avid program that people, if they're considering moving in a different direction from the editor that they're working with, what is it about Avid that sets it apart from the other programs that are out there?
Most people are snobs, right? No. It is a good question. Everybody's going to have their own reason. I think I had done a hand wave to just how long Avid has been around, how long Media Composer has been around. It's been like 25, 27 years. And that's a lot of refinement. That's a lot of depth. And it's a lot of thought that's gone into the tool set and how deep it can go. These are editors all over the world doing all kinds of different projects for over 25 years, feeding in there well, this is what I want, and this would be better this way. And I think it's just the depth. There are plugins for all kinds of things, for effects, for titling, for audio, and so on, but they really don't make a plugin for editing and for media management. That is the core of every system. Avid has a really great foundation in solid media management and great editing tools, because when we started, you couldn't finish. It had to be all about how you manage the media, because you were always going somewhere else with it when you were done. And if the editing tools weren't good, we never would have brought people over from tape and from film. So that had to be what it was all about, and that's really carried us forward all these years. So I think when people tell you, I love Avid or I love Media Composer, it's just because they love the depth that it provides and the stability it provides with that media management architecture.
Excellent. People want to find out more about Media Composer or Avid. What do they do?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious place is to go to avid.com. Also on Facebook, we got posting a lot of stuff from the show here. So just follow Avid on Twitter. Go to avid.com. We're out there everywhere, and we'd love to have you come check us out.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Clint.
HD SLR Shooters special coverage of NAB 2017. Sponsored by Akidio, Aperture, Adamus, Band Pro, Blackmagic Design, Carl Zeiss, Light and Motion, Manios Digital and Film, Shape, Schneider, Sakonic, and Xylite.